live. Let me begin the recording. And over to you, Sin Chan as our Sergeant at Arms.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is your Sergeant at Arms, Shin speaking. Welcome to TC Segamut meeting today. So, a few house rules to highlight before we start. First of all, make sure you are in a distraction-free environment. Number two, please mute yourself so that you don't disturb others while they are speaking. So number three, please be generous with your facial expression, with emoji, and in the chat box, so that it boosts our whole energy of the meeting. Okay, yesterday, what happened was me, JC, and Devi went to sharing at the Empire Toastmasters in Indonesia about humor in business. So one of the sharing by the speaker is telling us that to grab every single opportunity to tell a joke. So today I decided to tell a joke. One day, I'm going to challenge your wits. So try to listen carefully and answer me in a very short time. So one day, there are three very good friends. Baguette, egg mayo sandwich, and kaya bun. They are very good friends, and they went to cinema and watched Titanic. While the ship sinks, kaya bun and egg mayo tuna was crying very sadly. And they look at Baguette and wonder, why isn't he crying? And they ask him, don't you think that the story is so sad? Why are you crying? So guess what did Baguette answer? The count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Baguette tell them, because I don't have feeling. So I'm not adept into showing my emotion. You guys get what I mean? I don't have feeling. Because egg mayo and kaya bun has feeling, and Baguette doesn't have the feeling. So he's not showing any emotion. So never mind, it's okay if it's not funny, because the trainer told us that if the joke is not funny, then pretend that you're not telling a joke. Yes, I'm not telling a joke. So next up, let's pass this stage to our exco of the day, which is Tevi, to give us a welcome address. Over to you, Tevi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shin-chan. Welcome all Toastmasters from different parts of the world. Today we have from Toastmasters from Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, India, and Cambodia, if I'm not mistaken. She's here. And we are supposed to be expecting some from US as well as in UK. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome. And a special shout out to our guests, Jacqueline, Tara, Penny, C, Shailin, and Feng Lin. Now, I would like to welcome our facilitators, with 3 facilitators, that is DTM Balakrishnan, DTM Brahmakumar Balakrishnan, DTM Naveen Parwal, as well as DTM David Hughes, who's not here as yet. We have these 3 remarkable people who are going to be helping us to conduct a workshop called Tackling Table Topics. Now, what is table topics? Table topics is impromptu speech which need you to have the wits to be able to speak off the cuff on your feet to deliver a speech. Now, wits is so important when it comes to for you to be able to deliver an impromptu speech. Let me give you an example. Now, you wake up in the morning today and you got dressed, you had a shower, you got dressed, you drove your car to your office building and walked into an elevator. And there you saw Steve Jobs standing all by himself in the lift. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is the Steve Jobs before, not now. He was alive. He is the founder of Apple Incorporated. Now, Steve Jobs was in the good mood and he decided that today is the day he's going to offer a job to the first person that's going to walk into the lift. Now, for that, for the person to be qualified, he needs this person to be able to say something to a question, or rather answer the question that he had. And this is the question Steve Jobs has. Now, after you recover from the fainty feel and exchange the pleasantries with Steve Jobs, he asked you this question. Tell me, which is better, a round or a square manhole cover? You know the manhole cover that you see on the road? Which is better? Now, this is a question where there's no right or wrong answer. The thing is that how good are you in taking this information in and come up with a structure where you come up with the speech, you deliver in a way that you capture his heart where he'll offer you this job. Now, let me tell you, impromptu speaking, that is speaking off the cuff, is not an easy task. If anyone tell you that it is very easy, don't believe them. They are lying to you. Now, the question is, the thing is, it's something that you can develop. You can build yourself to be a better impromptu speaker. Now, we have today with us 3 people who's going to do just that. And I will let our TME, or rather Toastmaster of the evening, explain more in detail on that. But meanwhile, before I hand over the control over to you, I would like to take this opportunity to say bravo or congratulate all the brave souls who have volunteered to be the table topic speakers and give them a big round of applause beforehand. And now I would like to hand over the control over to the Toastmaster of the evening, TC Segamut's President, DTM JCV. Take it away.
Thank you. Let's give TV a Zoom wave. This is how we're going to clap on Zoom because we cannot hear this. So we're going to give a Zoom wave. Thank you. How many of you are excited for the next event coming up soon? Please raise your hand. Fantastic. There is no mistake why you are in this room. If you're in here by accident, I don't know how you got in, but you will definitely be in for an amazing, amazing journey tonight. How many of you can say that you fear impromptu speaking, speaking off the cuff? If you fear impromptu speaking, type 1 in the chat. If you are very confident, type 2. Oh, there are many of you who fear. Fantastic. Can you also share what is it that you fear about table topics, about impromptu speaking? What is it you fear? And what happens to you? If you're put on the spot, you're asked a question, and then how do you answer? What happens? Not knowing about the topic, yes. You panic and go blank. I had exactly the same experience. The first time I did table topics, I was volunteered by one of my seniors. And the first 40 seconds, I went blank. I said absolutely nothing, and I thought that was the worst day of my life. But they kept prompting me to at least say a few words, and I made it. I survived that moment. But I went back to my seat feeling really dejected. But one thing that changed my entire life was the evaluation and the feedback given to me by the table topics evaluator. And because of that, I came back as a guest, visiting guest another 4 times. And all 4 times, I also did table topics. Just because it was something I feared, I said I had to do it. And after the 4th time, I became a Toastmaster. And do you know how long I've been a Toastmaster? Can anyone guess? For those who know me, please do not say. Can anyone guess how long have I been a Toastmaster? Just type in. Yes, 15 years. So all these are my members. 15 years ago, I joined Toastmasters and I still am. Today, I'm a member of 3 clubs and upcoming a 4th club. So why is this such an inspiring journey to me, and why are there so many clubs in the world? If for those of you who are first time in a Toastmaster meeting, this is not a regular meeting. This is a very special meeting that we have here tonight. It's a learning session that we provide to our members to help them to really grow and expand their skill set, their mindset, right? So this is where you're going to learn skills that's going to help you to overcome your fear of public speaking, especially when it comes to impromptu speeches, and to learn skills and elements to tackle topics, especially when you're thrown off guard. So this is where you learn how to be adept, not only in critical thinking, but also in creative thinking. How many of you would be willing to take up that challenge here today? Please say yes. Fantastic. Although I can't hear you, that's fine. You learn on Zoom. Sometimes when you ask for response, you don't get it. So now what do we want to do? I want you to please turn on your camera. Please turn on your camera so that we can see your faces. At least we can see your facial expression. Thank you so much for turning on your camera, Tara. Fantastic. Wonderful. I see Saiful giving me some encouragement with a stuffed toy. Fantastic. I love it. So here is where you can just grab props, whatever is nearby, be resourceful, grab some props. Okay. There are a few people whom I would like to introduce to this meeting first, our technical role players. First up is our timer, the very, very important man here tonight. He's also our sergeant at arms, Shin Chan, and you see he has a yellow background. That shows that my time is almost up talking to you. And he will give 3 signals. Green light means that you've reached the minimum that you're supposed to speak. Amber light, get ready to wrap up. Red light, you should stop by now, and he will show time's up. He might just kick you out of the Zoom room if you go over time. Okay, so please note that when you are coming up to speak, please take note who our timer is for today. And tonight we are really, really honored to have 3 amazing guests. They are distinguished Toastmasters from Singapore and also Australia. And first up, I would like to really acknowledge our 3 times DTM Brahmakumar Balakrishnan, who is from Yuan Toastmasters Club. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. And Brahmakumar is truly adept as a trainer. He's also the T3, AFT3 Table Topics and Humorous Speech Champion in the year 2020. Wow, give him some Zoom wave. What we also want to do is to give some reactions. Give some reactions. Thank you so much. Send him some love. And he's the first runner-up for the Division T Humorous Speech Contest. Brahmakumar has also served as a club coach, and he's an advanced certified training and assessment. Brahmakumar loves global trotting, and he has made his mark in the Middle East, in India, Europe, and the Caribbean. Brahmakumar will be our lead facilitator for tonight, and he will be sharing with you the tips and techniques for you to tackle table topics with confidence. Let's give Brahmakumar a wave. Fantastic. Next up, we also have our table topic master for session 2. We have 2 sessions. So session 2 will be Distinguished Toastmaster Navin Pawal from Jaipur Toastmasters Club and Hindi Parivar Singapore Toastmasters Club. He has been a Toastmaster for 12 years. And during that time, he has also served as the area governor and the district treasurer for District 80 in Singapore. Let's give him a Zoom wave too. Fantastic. And our third panelist for tonight is David Hughes, distinguished Toastmaster. Over 20 years have exceeded me. And the other person who exceeded me right here is one of my dearest friends, Lucky, past Division J director, right? So David Hughes is coming all the way from Melbourne, Australia. He has had a very busy day tonight. He has also served as the area governor 3 times, the division governor and director, and also the district parliamentarian. David is also the District 73 Table Topics Champion in 2017. So you definitely have experts on the panel here tonight. How many of you are ready to get started? Give me a wave. Woo! Love it, love it, love it. I love the energy. All right. So right now, I would like to pass the spotlight over to our lead facilitator, Brahmakumar Balakrishnan. Over to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
And can you see me? Yes,
Not
can.
yet. Okay, now I can see you.
Okay. Before I start, can all of you do one exercise? Do this. Turn on the camera and do it. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel wonderful? Actually, if you're a rap musician, you can make a rap song with this. But I'm not going to do that. So what do we learn from that? It takes two to tango, right? So before I start, I want to acknowledge the power of three. Three wonderful people, JC, Shinchan, and Devi. These three people came together and brought another three of us together. David, Navin, and myself. So you see the power of three. And so with 6 people, I'm sure you can do more. And we have 56 people. Isn't that wonderful to have so many people around here? So there are 2 things that I need from all of you. Keep your camera on when someone is speaking. Otherwise, I will turn off my camera like this. All right? I'm sure nobody wants to do that, right? You want to be seen and you want to be heard. So let's do the same for the others. Let everyone see you as they are speaking. Because we're on the Zoom, we don't really know whether when we say something, it is something that is positive, something that's enjoyable. So the only way is to have your golden smile with your face on the camera, or clapping, or the thumbs up. You can show love. You can cry if you're too happy. You can even send confetti around and all that. All right? Because you're here to have fun.
Oh, sorry, Brahma.
As Elio says, since we cannot touch one another, better we clap our own hands.
Yeah. Brahma, I forgot one thing. I
Yes.
forgot to invite the grammarian to introduce the word of the day.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay,
before
we'll invite our adept grammarian to share the word of the day. Over to you, grammarian.
Right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sinjan. I will be a grammarian today for, I'm sure most of you are Toastmasters, but for the benefit of non-Toastmasters guests, as a grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language used, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, or sayings or thoughts. As a grammarian, I'm also in charge of introducing the word of the day. There is one word of the day that you can say in 2 ways. I've provided phonetics on my virtual background to help with that. There is adept and adept. I'm going to repeat myself. Adept and adept. Adept means to be skilled in something or to be proficient in something. An adept is a person who is fully skilled or proficient at something. So I will be taking note of all the uses of this word of the day. And I would like to encourage all speakers today to use the word of the day as purposefully and as meaningfully and as properly as possible. Back to you.
Thank you, grammarian. Can I take over now? Before that, could I request the Zoom master to rename David Hughes as one of the facilitators?
What was that, Brahma?
To rename, they will rename you.
Okay, good.
That's David, our counterpart from Australia, who has come just after 2 other Toastmaster meetings. I think one of it was a contest, in fact. So that shows how much of passion he has. He also has a lot of compassion. So don't worry, he'll make your life wonderful today.
Good on you. Thanks.
All right, I'm starting my screen share. Can you see my screen? Thumbs up, if you can see it. All right. So you have 3 people. Myself, Navin is globe-trotting between Singapore and India at times, so I put him under India. And David Hughes Kingston from Australia, here to help you overcome your fear of table topics. So some ground rules which have been already explained earlier. Keep the phone on silent mode, mute your microphone unless you're talking, share the time with others, let others speak also, because I know some of us can really talk and talk, especially if you're an EDM, right? You can never stop talking, right? But let us give the chance to others. There are many from other countries who are here. And so there are also people from different cultures, different race, different religions. So we need to appreciate and understand and be careful about what we speak. And most importantly, we are here to have fun. Like they say in Chinese, it is not here to have fun, but to have fun. So what is table topics? Our intention today is to tackle the table topics. We'll start with overcoming fear, followed by 5 elements, and then share some techniques. And this is an interactive session. That means it's not a lecture. After one technique is shared, immediately there will be a demonstration, there will be a performance by the rest of you. And there's no subtitles. All right? So what is fear? I'm sure many of you have fear of public speaking. But what does Zig Ziglar say is that fear is actually false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. And if you think about it, the first day of school, you were afraid of the teacher. The last day of the school, the teacher was afraid of you. So it was actually fear, right? The first time you jumped into the swimming pool, and then the second time when you jumped into the swimming pool known as work, and the third time when you jumped into the swimming pool known as marriage, were you not fearful? Now it's the other way around, right? At first the wife was afraid of the husband, now the husband is afraid of the wife, right? You see, I see all the ladies smiling. So, sometimes you just have to look at the non-verbal response, where the truth lies. So how do we face fear? There was a psychologist who said that to overcome the fear of a snake, this is what can be done. First, he started by showing a picture of a snake to the person who has a fear of snakes. Then, step 2 is moved on to showing a plastic snake, artificial snake. Then third, after a while, brought a person to an actual snake, but this time the snake had no teeth, no more fangs, so no more poison. So once the person got used to the slimy, slippery skin, then they went the next step. So slowly, step by step, the fear can be overcome. So the key word is to face fear, you have to fear it, which is face everything and rise. Face everything and rise. In terms of table topics, if you want to overcome your fear, there's 2 ways. One is to become the table topic master. When you become the table topic master, it's not easy. You need to think what topics will work well with your audience. If you come with a topic that nobody understands, then you will feel very miserable. But if you can understand your audience, Like if you know this person is an expert at IT, first time you give IT topic. After 6 months, you know this fellow is already very good at IT, you don't give him IT topics, you give him a topic on literature. So he has to stretch his mind. So that is one way. But the more better way is to jump into the ocean, meaning every time there's a table topic session, just go for it. Wear a pair of Nike shoes and just do it. Because this is the only platform where you can make all the mistakes in the world and you won't get fired. You won't get scolded. In fact, they will be praising you. Sometimes they even praise you when you make a mistake. You know, they say, no, this is a very good attempt. But the room for improvement, which is the largest room, is still there. And then they will give you positive feedback. And so today, think of all of us not as DTMs or facilitators or trainers, just as one of your friends whom you haven't seen for a long time because of COVID-19, over here to help you. So we have already had some volunteers here. Later, we may need some more volunteers. If time permits, we may ask for even more volunteers. Therefore, don't be shy, don't be scared, just go for it, try out the topics, and you will learn a lot. Table topics, as mentioned earlier by Devi, is impromptu speaking, speaking off the cuff, speaking under fire. That's when a politician is faced by the news reporter or an accident happens and you need to give some answers to the media. And then thinking on your feet, like if you go home late after a Toastmasters meeting and your wife asks, why are you late? Okay, so coming to Toastmasters table topic session gives you all these ideas. It works for the ladies also, wrong. If you go for very long hours of shopping and then you come home, you know how do they say it in Malay, tipu your better half. All right. So there are 5 elements of table topics. Look at these 5 pictures and see if you can put it in order. But don't worry, I'll show you how it works. Step 1. Listen. Many a times people don't listen to the topic. So don't be in a rush. Listen to the topic. Next. Confirm. You can only do the confirmation in a non-contest environment. In the contest, it's given that you know the topic. But at club, you can confirm. Because sometimes people have different accents. Sometimes a word like adapt can be A-D-E-P-T or it can be A-D-A-P-T. So if you listen and you feel that you still don't understand, you can clarify with the table topic master. And then pause. Some people are divided over this. Some say you shouldn't pause, you should go straight to the topic. But I think you should at least spend between 5 to 15 seconds to ponder over the topic, reflect. Because there are a lot of techniques that can be used. We are sharing 3 here, but there are at least more than 10 that are around. As far as I know, there might be even more than that. And after that, you speak, you tell your story, then end. When I say end, you don't end your topic by saying, come again next time for my next table topic section. You don't do that in the table topics. You can do it in your speech, but not in table topics. Table topics, you go straight and say, as I had said earlier, A, B, C. So this is my viewpoint on this topic. This is my stand, and so forth. Now, are you all ready for the next step? So if you want to take a WhatsApp, you can take a WhatsApp of these 5 steps. Next. The first technique is known as Oreo, also known as prep. What does that mean? Opinion or point? Reason? Example? Opinion or point? This is the most common technique that you can use for any topic, including your speeches and your school composition, essays, any speech, anywhere you need to give a written or verbal speech. And to make it very wonderful for all of us, I'm going to call a volunteer. But before that, let me just explain one by myself, all right? Suppose I say, this is just for fun, there's no meaning to it. Suppose I say that smoking is good for your body. And I give the reason. Smoking is good for the body because it makes your lungs work harder. And then I give an example. Statistics have shown that those who smoke actually live long life. Of course, whether my statistic is true or false is a different matter. But I'm just saying this. And then you conclude. Therefore, smoking is good for your body. All right. That was just my example, but we got an actual person who's ready to do a live demo. Boy. JC, I think you need to look at the rules of being admitted. A lot of people are coming in. Okay, a live demo. Devi, are you ready for your topic? She's our volunteer.
Yes,
Give
I
her a
am.
love. And her topic
Back
is.
again.
Her topic is. Festivities are a boon, not a bane. Festivities are a boon, not a bane. The time, as usual, is 2 to 3 minutes. Timer, can you say the time sequence?
So, Devi, you have 3 minutes. According to the agenda, you have 5 minutes. So 3 minutes, I'll give a green light.
No,
Oh, wait a minute. I thought it's
follow
2
2
minutes. It's
Follow
like
2
table
minutes.
topics 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, just follow 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, you have 2 minutes. So in 2 minutes, I'll give the green light, is it? And then
Green
1
light.
minute, 1 minute green
1
light,
minute green light.
1.5 minute amber,
Yellow, amber.
red,
2 minutes, red.
2
Sure.
and a half time.
Okay.
Festivities are a boon, not a bane. Now, yeah, I agree with that. Festivities are a boon, but I also think that it's a bane. Let me tell you why. Now, I came from a family of 11 of us. Most of us are married with kids. Now, Deepavali is a big thing in my household. All of us get together in my mother's house the eve of Deepavali. Now, it's really a fun time at my mother's house because some of them will be, we put something like 100 lights in my mother's house in the compound, 100 lights to get adults and the children. On the other hand, we have on the other side that the ladies will be having their colorful rangoli column. If you know the colorful rice art piece that's being done in the house, and there's one side where the fireworks goes on, and it is something that we enjoy all the time. And once that is done, towards the evening we have our meal time. And let me tell you something about our meal time on Deepavali Eve. We have big, huge banana leaf placed on the floor. One whole banana leaf, not the cut piece. And sometimes we have to join a few where the children sit on both sides of the banana leaf to have the meal. All the cousins, nieces and nephews come together to have the meal. I'm telling you, this is something that we cherish so much. And the children talk about it every time. And they have taken this to their own family and practicing this tradition in their own homes. Now that's true. It's a lot of fun time, but let me tell you on the flip side of it, that it also involves a lot of work, involves a lot of money, because the next day my mom gives out all the new clothes to all the children. And not alone that, the children want cash handout. Gone are the days where I give 10 ringgit is a fine thing, but today they want 20 or 50, at least 20 to 50. The older they are, more money you have to give. But you know, despite having had to do everything, but the joy of getting the family together is beyond explanation here, I would say. Don't you agree? It comes once a year. Thankfully, Deepavali comes once a year. But the fun that we have and the memories that we carry is something we cherish all the time. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening, or rather, Mr. Brahmakumar.
Thank you, Devi, for that demonstration. Now, we will not have any techniques on the prep or Oreo, we'll have it on something else. Does anyone have any questions? If not, we move on. The first technique we are going to do today, sorry, the second technique is the pendulum. The pendulum is a technique used in cases where there are arguments or debates. So on one side of the equation, you agree with the point of view, you give the pros, you give the merits, the advantages. And then you go to the other side and give the opposite point of view. You disagree, you give the contrast, the cons, the demerits. The tendency for many people is when they are given a topic, they either look at one side or the other. If you look at both the pros and the cons, the agreement and the disagreement, the merits and the demerits, the advantages and the disadvantages, you will have a lot to say, and in a contest, you will shine. And therefore, we are going to start soon. Are there any volunteers? We need 2 volunteers for this. JC, if you have the name, you can mention them.
Yes, first up we have Saiful Selamat from Leap Toastmasters Club and our own member, SH Ng.
So Mr. Saiful, our bubbly, jovial Saiful is here again. You will be speaking for the topic.
Oh, 4. Okay.
And your counterpart, I'm sorry, I forgot his name.
SH.
SH, is it?
Yes. SH.
Okay, SH Hung. You will be speaking against the topic. Before going to the topic, you need to know the time sequence, right? So, at 1 minute, it will be green. At 1:30, it will be yellow, red, and the bell, right? However, we are doing something different here. Now, there was a complaint that whoever speaks first has the advantage because, has a disadvantage because they're given the topic and they don't have time to think. But the second person has all the time in the world. So what we're going to do is that the timer will help you with this. Every 30 seconds, we will switch. Which means after 30 seconds, Shi Eng will start talking. Then we switch again. 30 seconds later, Saiful will come back to your own stand and you'll continue. 30 seconds later, Shi Eng will come back again. So what will happen is that you have a good chance to rebut each other.
Okay.
Smiling.
Yeah.
And so we shall go to the topic. Timer, are you ready?
Yes.
Speakers, are you ready? And normally the first topic is very interesting and very exciting. And this is your topic.
Okay.
Men are a dying species. So Saiful, you will speak for the topic. And Shui Eng, you will say against the topic. Audience, your job is to clap, give thumbs up and all that. All right? Once you're ready, show the thumbs up and then I'll take away the screen. I can't see Saiful yet.
Yeah.
Okay, you're ready? So take off.
Okay.
Right.
Can I start?
Yes.
Men are dying species. You want to know why men are a dying species? Because men always do outside. Do all the hard job, the army, the police, all that is based on men. You can see taking about 10 policemen, not even one woman. So because of that, you can see the crew will shoot the men first. So out of that, clearly, last history call it, for the last World War II, 4 million people died out of war. And 90% of them are men. That is why men are dying species. And on top of that, now men have so much responsibility.
I'm going to switch.
Switch.
You're
You're
on mute.
muted.
You're on mute, SH.
Right. Man was a dying species because we had to carry out all the wars, all the combats. But that is not the case right now. Right now, the warfare has gone from actual combat at the trenches to the cyberspace. by the clicks of a few buttons, you can start the war. And of course, man is very important for what? For reproduction, for procreation, for the future generation. I couldn't imagine how women only can do that alone. And
Which
with that in mind,
When you're talking about reproduction, you have to remember something. In order to produce a human, you need an ovum. And people can just have DNA, genetically implant some of the sperm to the ovum. Man doesn't have ovum. You cannot do anything about it. That is what the problem is. And on top of that, you have to remember, men and women, and sometimes now the trending, a men are turning into women. You can see a lot with Sajat, with all the things suddenly become so gilly-gilly. And that is why the men are dying species, that you know that. Because the situation right now goes for that part. And people are talking about beautify. They want to be like women. Even some guy want to be like women. And that is the problem. That's why I say men are dying species. We are men as men is lower now compared to the
which
Razak.
are guilty.
yes, indeed, society has given and has a lot of expectations on men. They expect us to be the breadwinner. They expect us right now, especially the women of today's, expect us to be loving and tender and to be able to understand them, which is as complex as it could be. The most complex species will be the women. But however, it is also an opportunity for men to reinvent themselves. There are lots of courses, there are lots of avenues for us to learn, to engage, and to interact with women.
Engagement. We are talking man, a real man, not a man that is sotong man. Man is sotong man, is not a man, you know that? A man should be some courageous, hardworking, go ahead and do it now. And right now, due to all the keyboard warrior, now they exercise their finger. Now I come up to simple solution. When I see a man out there, I have confused. 9 out of 10 doesn't look like a man, look like some idol with all the facial, everything.
Yes. Okay. Right. As the Chinese saying goes, the same kind of rice can feed thousands types of people. And that is where market segment comes into play. Women wants different things, and society wants different things out of man. This is where my stress or my emphasis on reinvent ourselves comes into play. For example, there might be women who likes more muscular men, so there's an opportunity. Switch.
Yes.
If you're talking about men, women like muscular men, then how come a lot of girls like K-pop? You see the K-pop guy, so skinny, so with makeup. Even if the wind blow them, they will fly away. Because you know why? Some men right now have identity crisis. Have something that thing. Oh, alamak, testosterone level is very narcissistic. Yes, I'm fighting for the men because men was dying species here. We have to be men. Okay. Yes, Asesh.
In overall, I still believe that it is for us to invent ourselves, for us to find the niche we want to go into. If you're interested in a woman who wants a muscular man, then all the time, by all means, go for the gym. The thing is trying to be yourself, trying to be adept into understanding the goals that you want to achieve, be it a woman that you are in love with, or be it just be yourself. If you think that you like to go to the gym and be a very muscular macho man, go for it. If you are...
And already, alamak, baru nak bagi my final.
sorry. Should have warned you all that we have 4 minutes and of y'all have 4 chances to speak.
I see. Okay. Supposed to give us the conclusion lah, what extra 30 seconds, then okay.
We have told you all earlier.
All right. Thank you, SH. Goodbye.
Thanks, Apple.
And so you saw how excited they were when they were talking about their own species. 2 and 4 against. Okay. Okay, I forgot to say something. Actually, each of these speakers will be evaluated by 3 people. Navin will evaluate the content of both speakers, myself, the delivery, and David. David, are you there?
I am. I am.
You are the adept at the English language. You are our wordsmith for today. So you should focus on the usage of language.
I am an adept and I am adept.
All right. All right. We'll start with Navin. Navin, could you start by giving your evaluation of the content?
Yep. Fellow Toastmasters, good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. All right. Wow. This was a wonderful and very engaging topic, because it's an endless conversation. What can go on? And of course, I'm very sure that all of us were enthralled by both the speakers, and they both spoke magnificently. They gave their valid points right from right from the historical facts about how many human beings died, and it's always the men who are the culprits, or who are the victims. And well, of course, it was a very engaging topic. But now, how could we have made it slightly more better, or made it uh, um, uh, a better debatable point, so that everyone could really be engaged onto it? So I got 2 points for everyone. Now, one of the things was that if you could have the way to add credibility to speech is by having some established quotation for this particular topic. For example, one which came to my mind was that of William Shakespeare, which you could have added that what a piece of work is a man, how noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable. So probably that would have added credibility to to this particular topic. It could be of anyone. This is just an example I've given of a monologue written by William Shakespeare. And the other thing was that probably, like, if you could relate it to any current topic which is going on recently. For example, it could be for any like any US based elections. And I mean, if you could have put Donald Trump as one person whom might you might feel is a bad example of a man, or maybe his opponent who might be a good example of a man. So that would again be something which the audience could relate to, and that would add credibility. But overall, it was a good fight between both the contestants, and I really enjoyed it, just like the audience. Good work, everybody. Thank you.
I found that my go now, I think. I found that both men who were speaking were actually arguing the same point to me. Their language was local language, in Singapore or Malaysia, where they are. And they were speaking kind of really passionately. There was too much language for me in parts of it, because if you're going to do this sort of stuff, it's probably better not to say anything, because silence has more impact. But I think overanalyzing the question, and it was like a debate rather than a table topic, because we are looking at content, delivery, and language. And silence is language too. I would have liked one of the speakers, the second speaker perhaps, to think about if he's married or what his wife may say, and use a voice that comes back at the other thing. All right. So I understood all language because I go over that part of the world. But I think that if you're going to argue backwards and forwards, take on another character voice, if you like, make it more impactful. Okay. But there was one word I didn't understand. I think he talked about these skinny people, hip hop or something like that. I didn't quite hear that, but I think that's what he said. Yeah. Good.
K-pop, Korean K-pop.
Okay. All right. I didn't understand that.
Okay, it's my turn to talk about the delivery.
Very good.
Okay, it's my turn to talk about the delivery. Both Saiful and Shui Ng are seasoned speakers, as very obvious, right? They spoke with gusto. You see their hand gestures coming out. I think if they were next to each other, we'll be having a boxing session now. And they were not going to give up. They were going on and on with their points. I could see a lot of aggression, a lot of passion, a lot of excitement, vibrancy. They actually brought this session to life. However, it would have been even more exciting if they stood up for their stand. If they stood up and spoke, I think it can be even more powerful. And if you remove the virtual background, keep on speaking, that would be a very powerful message. Another point to consider is that there should be some pauses in between. I know we are very excited, and I know your knowledge of anatomy is very good, but have a pause somewhere. Men are not dying. You see, there will be a difference when you change your tone, the rhythm, because some people can listen to a very fast speech, some cannot. So you need to vary it, especially when you're doing it over the Zoom. Those are the areas you can build on. It's a very nice speech listening to both of you. I think you are actually some school debaters in the past. Back to you. Table topic. Toastmaster of the evening. Can I have the next two volunteers?
All right. Thank you. Shin, could you unspot the panelists? For our next debate pair, since we have heard from the Martians, men are from Mars, let's hear from Venuses. And we have one slot open for yes, Shin, for Venus.
JC, just to remind the panelists that each of them has only 1 minute
Yes.
to give their evaluation. While my screen changes color, they have to stop. Okay, my screen will change color every minute. Thank you.
Thank you, Shin. All right. So will there be any volunteers from the floor? We need one more volunteer from women. Who's going to take up the challenge?
We have Nancy put up a hand.
Nancy, fantastic. Nancy will be our first contender. And the second one will be our Area J2 Director, Su Tiong. Let me spotlight them. Nancy, there you? Okay, there you are. Hey, what happened to Sue? Okay, over to you, Brahma. You're on mute.
Can I take it that Nancy, you are for the topic? You will speak for the topic, and
yes, okay.
Su Tiong, you will speak against the topic.
Okay.
All right. And your topic is, before the topic is given, just take note, every 30 seconds there will be a switch by the timer. When you hear the word switch, timer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only 4 minutes. So both of them will have 4 times speaking.
All right. So every 30 seconds, when he says switch, the other person will start speaking. All right.
What's the topic?
Here it comes. Love is a smartphone.
Oh.
Love is a smartphone.
Love is a smartphone.
Once you're ready, just give the thumbs up and I'll take away the screen. Right? Are you ready? Can we start?
Yes.
It's ready.
I cannot see myself.
You go to speaker view, you should be able to see yourself and Sue.
Okay. Okay, now I can see. Yes.
Okay, you can start.
Love is a smartphone. If love is an emotion, love is something that human beings are able to show, and some animals are very good at it. For example, the dog or the cat. And how can you equate love with a smartphone? Well, love can be so finicky. Sometimes you feel you are in love, or people say you fall in love. Woo! Is that just what it is? Or is it something else? Well, we can know what love is.
Susu, are you here?
Sorry.
Yeah. Did you say switch?
Switch,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Switch. Okay, love is not a smartphone. The smartphone is a very new invention, considering that it has only been a few decades since we have seen the smartphone. So are we saying that love never existed before the invention of the smartphone? I don't think so. Love is as old as time. So how can we compare something so sacred and so pure to a smartphone? I am appalled. So I don't think I agree with this topic that love is a smartphone. I felt that whoever come up with this topic is really inadept.
If music is the fruit of love, play on. Now, the smartphone has all types of music for you to choose at your fingertips. Now, the smartphone may have originated not long ago, but it is an instrument in our hands, it's putty in our hands. And when you are in love, you will listen, you will do, you pine for the person endlessly. And therefore, and this is what we do with our smartphone. It's always with us. It gives us everything we need. And that's what a relationship of true love is.
Switch.
Where you and the person.
Switch. I don't agree that love is a smartphone, because as we know, the quality of the phones that we have now, even if the quality is good like Nokia, are you still using the Nokia 3310? We cannot, because it has no WhatsApp. So you see the ever changing technology, our smartphone just cannot adapt to it. So it is quite disposable, really. After a few years, you are bound to update it or just to change it. So does that mean that love is interchangeable? No, I don't think so. That is such an insult to love to compare it to the smartphone. And I just believe that if only we can come up from this technological mindset that love is disposable, that we can change partners every other day or every other week, then there's the problem with our culture and our community nowadays. So how can we compare such a thing? It's just out of the question. Switch, okay.
Well, the smartphone is a very complex instrument, like the human being. The only difference is the smartphone is not emotional. It is a thing. But love can be personified by a smartphone. Now, what is it that we feel when we are with our phones? It's almost like a love story.
Switch again, so fast. Okay, so I feel that love cannot be equated to a smartphone. Smartphone is like an addiction. You know, we have this addiction to technology. So when you are addicted to love, it's actually like an obsession. It's borderline stalking and psycho, like a criminal already, like you are like a stalker and then you are obsessed with that woman or man. Then after that, it's not healthy. The real love is actually giving freedom to your partner and you are able to put it down. Okay.
Well,
Final round.
I would say that love is a complex issue, as complex as a smartphone. But the thing about human beings is, no matter how complex, we have the upper hand, where a phone cannot think for itself, whereas a human being can think and feel, and therefore we are in charge of our lives, and we are in a position to know when love is like our smartphone.
Okay. I am totally against the notion that love is a smartphone. if anything, I would say that the smartphone is just a small, minute detail in facilitating love in today's technology. We can totally live without smartphone, but we cannot live without love. And the love I'm talking about is not only limited to romantic relationship, but also love for ourselves. So when we talk about love, the last thing I would think about is smartphone.
Time's up.
Okay, time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, smart and phone lovers. Now I call upon our evaluator, Navin, to give his comments on the content used by both speakers. Over to you, Navin.
Yep. Thank you, both the Toastmasters, Nancy and Survey. Wow, what a wonderful argument, and it's a topic which everyone could relate to. And you both gave your points very well. I just felt that Nancy, somehow you just lost in the topic towards the end and started speaking against it, but nevertheless you came back on the content. Now, some of the things which I felt, again, you could add in this is that a lot of time people regret buying the phone because after 1 or 2 months a new model comes up. So probably you could have added spiced up by adding some humor. Oh God, I just got this phone and it became obsolete in 2 months. That's how love is as well. It tends to get obsolete. And secondly, if you could again give some example of some well-known figure who is addicted to mobile. For example, one of the figure which really came in my mind was the previous president Obama. Like, he was addicted to his BlackBerry about 8 years ago. So if that example could have been given, so that would have added more credibility to this topic, or any other relevant examples. So these were just two topics. Otherwise, you had both presented the topics very well. Thank you.
I loved the language used in that back and forth. I heard some analogies, I heard some Shakespeare, I heard a very convincing argument from Su Tiong, and some of the language she used was brilliant. I loved when she said, I disagree. How can you say us, mother? So sacred and pure, I'm appalled. I mean, convinced me totally. It's great language to use. You don't need a lot of it, but you use wonderful words. I loved it. Complex, you use that word 5 times, Nancy, and maybe pick a complex and a different word that means something similar. However, I know I'd have on my side for an argument like that. Well done, both of you. It was good.
Well, it was first. Today we saw two giants. Why I say that is that, look at Nancy. I thought I saw Shakespeare here when she brought in Shakespeare. And the way she spoke, it's so musical, so poetical. I think she fell in love with the smartphone. We would have also fallen in love with the smartphone, listening to the way she spoke so eloquently, so elegantly. And look at the way she dressed up also. She got a wonderful hat on her head, you know. It sort of like sings with the topic. And she took it so nicely, you know. Initially, I could see she was struggling with the topic. But once she got it, she found how to relate, how to fall in love with the smartphone. One area I would recommend that you look at is to stand up and speak, because when you stand up and speak, your gestures are more pronounced and more visible. All right? And those are the only areas I found. I suppose because of your character, you are not an aggressive person or fierce person like Su Tiong in the way you speak to others. Coming to Su Tiong, I found that she took the topic by the neck and actually strangled it, you know. Yeah. She said, no, I don't agree with this topic at all. I don't agree with, and she even scolded the person who gave the topic. You know, it was almost like going to bite the person. With the use of language, you could see the aggression, the boldness, the conviction, the fierceness. There was a lot of fire. That's the word, fire. You could see the fire coming out. No, 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 no. Love cannot be a smartphone. It cannot be temporary. It cannot be you switch your lovers every few months and so forth. See how the analogy came together. Actually, I've accidentally used a technique known as compare and contrast over here. It was accidental, but they handled it well. They use the prep, they use the compare and contrast, which will come later, and as well the debate. So back to you, Toastmaster of the evening, to call the next pair. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give the evaluators and the speakers a round of a Zoom wave. All right, now we are next. We are going on to our third and final debate couple. We had men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Now we have Mars and Venus together. And we have Rajesh from our TC Segamut Club and Shankari all the way from Chennai. Let me just spotlight them.
Hello, everybody.
Let me look for you. Shankari. Okay, Shankari is up and Rajesh.
Okay, are they on the spotlight?
Coming soon. All right, they're both on.
All right. So, Mr. Rajesh, you will be speaking for the topic. Okay. And Ms. Sankari, you will be speaking against the topic. Don't worry, your topic will not be so challenging like the previous one. What is
I should hope so.
Leave it to the creator of Brahma.
How about we tell you whether it's challenging or not?
That's right.
All right, the topic is
I'm
there are no
against
shortcuts
this
to
one.
success.
I beg your pardon?
So Rajesh, you will say there are no shortcuts to success. And Ms. Sankari, you will say there are shortcuts to success. Got it?
Got it.
All right, now I'll stop the share screen. And there'll be a switch every 30 seconds.
There are absolutely no shortcuts to success. I'm supposed to be for this topic, but since I'm 49 years old, I've realized there are better ways of doing things to get to success. So whether that's a shortcut or not, I think one requires, to be successful, one requires thought, one requires...
Switch.
Since Toastmaster Rajesh has chosen to advocate against the topic, I would like to advocate for the topic. I understand that in this day and age, people look for shortcuts to everything. While it is possible, such success will not last. What do we need for success? We need hard work, discipline, talent, spirit, and perseverance. Only if you have all 5 of these can the success that you get be everlasting. Without any of these, if you take a shortcut, you definitely would get success, Toastmaster Rajesh, but it wouldn't last. And that would not be success.
I think we then have to move forward and define what is success, because each person defines success by their own terms. What you may define as success may not be success to me, and therefore we reach an impasse. Would, on examination, a fish climbing a tree would certainly not be successful. But can a monkey swim underwater? So let's define success and then define a route to success, because there are always shorter routes. A route that is already well traveled. Is that a shortcut?
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajesh. I'm sorry, am I allowed to switch over? Because it seemed like you was...
Can we just switch?
All right.
Go.
Right. I agree with the point you said, in the sense that success is defined to each his own. Even that way, if you need it to be everlasting, there are multiple paths to it. But we need to ensure that all those paths have what is required. For instance, some of you might have seen the popular TV show Suits. It features a corporate firm in America which employs lawyers who have gone to the Harvard Law School. That is a place where people train and toil and struggle for years and years and years to master the art of law. And then they go on to the corporate world and prove themselves to be the top lawyers in the world. And in comes this person who has never been to law school, who has never put in any of the hard work, any of the effort, and he poses as a lawyer and has to struggle day in and day out to not be exposed as a fraud. Would you call this success? No. Why do we have to go all the way up to suits? Let us even see nearby everyday examples. Switch.
Sure, Suits is a drama. Suits is not real life. Suits is a TV show to keep us entertained. You take the example of Harvard being the gold standard. Are you then negating all the other universities out there? Are you then saying no one else can be successful in the US as a lawyer going to any other school? I challenge you to look at the Supreme Court, the bench, the judges on the Supreme Court of the United States.
Switch.
I do not say that Harvard is the only way. What I do say is there can be many ways to success, but none of them should cut off on one or more parameters required to success. We can go to any law school. That is not a shortcut, but we have to go to some law school. Not going to any law school whatsoever is a shortcut, and an egregious one at that, that makes the person extremely inadept. When we take such shortcuts, it is a way to
So I think then we have to determine what is a shortcut and what isn't a shortcut. Because if we're talking about where we need to be, then I would say taking the road less traveled is a longer path. If you take a predefined road, for example, going to university, getting your degree, and becoming a lawyer, that's a standard path.
Switch.
All right. I see where you're coming from, Toastmaster Rajesh. Shorter routes to the conventional ones do exist, and we should not negate them just because they're unconventional, is what you're trying to say. Where I differ is in the fact that make sure that when you negate them, no one around you suffers. When you take a shortcut, ensure that the value you're providing to the people around you is equal to or greater than the value provided by those who take the conventional path. If we do that, it is what we're going through is not a shortcut. What happened? I didn't hear you.
Thank you. I enjoyed that.
All right, big round of applause for our two table talk speakers.
Well done. Thank you. I enjoyed that.
Over to you, Brahma.
I'll go first on the delivery. We had two wonderful people today. Actually, they were very nice to each other. You know, they were not fighting. They were talking very philosophically, trying to explain what is success, what does it mean by shortcut, what is not shortcut. And you know, when one person gives a certain point, the other one takes and moves forward. What I liked about Rajesh is that he was very bold, confident. I could see the confidence moving on his face, in the way he spoke, in the way he very eloquently, very politely attacked his opponent. And it was always a point by point attack. Now Sankari, of course, grabbed it by the neck. And she said, no, this is shortcut, this is not shortcut, blah, blah, whatever he said, she took it and she gave the examples. So a lot of examples came from her. And that is very good. What both of you I would suggest is that you all stand up and speak, and at certain points, pause. Shortcut. What do you mean by shortcut? Doesn't the word shortcut itself say there's a cut down there? That sort of thing. All in all, it was very well done. I'm sure both of you will shine and have a wonderful, successful life because you're quite adept at speaking well. I'll hand over to the Naveen, who will speak on the content of the speech.
Yep. Thank you, Brahmakumar. All right. It was a wonderful topic, and you both had given the content very well. But I'll just tell you some things which I felt could have been improvised. Now basically, whenever any table topic, any debates are being conducted, try to use these three aspects of ethos, pathos, and logos to really bring up the topic. One way it could have been done was to personalize this topic on you could have given your own personal example on where you strive for success. And because always remember, facts tell, but stories tell. So always like try to build some stories inside topics to build the credibility. And secondly, apart from personalizing, because I believe that the main ingredients which you had in this was only towards shortcuts. So if it could have been elaborated further towards success area, so that would have added a much more credibility. Nevertheless, success is counted sweetest by those who never succeed. Thank you.
I liked both speakers, and it was interesting to see. It was like a dance in a way. Rajesh started with a bit of humor, which I really liked, and I think that engages the audience. He was a bit philosophical, and he used a bit of rhetoric, and he used metaphors, and he had this balance and like a philosophical approach, which I liked. Shankari, on the other hand, she used really good language to me. You choose to advocate. And then, interesting, that was a good phrase, but then said a kind of cliche, in this day and age, which is a kind of hackneyed phrase, and it might be an interesting one to drop. But then you used a gentle rebuttal and used a triad, train and toil and struggle. And that hit home to me. After which, Rajesh used a triad as well. Suits is a drama, Suits is not real, Suits is this. So I think that you're playing off each other. I like the language. You used some really good devices, and my time's up. Well done. I get shortchanged because Brahma speaks for longer than his time. So he goes about a minute and a half. Then Navin speaks for about a minute and a bit, and I get the rest. And the red light comes on at 3 minutes. Not fair, okay?
1,000 apologies. Timer, do we have time for another topic? No, right? Yes? No?
No time. Yeah, over time.
All right.
Yes.
So before I finish off this technique, this round, can I check if anyone has any questions?
If you have any questions, you can raise your hand or unmute. Let me check. Anyone has any questions?
You can put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Or we'll go ahead.
Or we'll take questions at the end. I think that'll be better. So if you do have any questions, you can put it in the chat and we'll take your questions at the end of the session.
A quick question. Do you want to give them a break now?
Yes, we're going to give you a break. So before we go on a break, let's just ask the timekeeper, what was the timing for the pairs?
Okay.
Total time, yes.
For the total time for speech number 1 is 6 minutes and 20 seconds. For speech number 2 is 5 minutes, 15 seconds. And speech 3 was 6 minutes and 2 seconds.
All right, thank you to our timer. It was not easy for him. Let's give Shin a Zoom wave. Woo! All right, so what we're going to do is, could everyone please turn your video on? We're going to do a group photo before we go on the break. So please turn your video on. And our cameraman, Justin, where are you? Justin, are you ready? All right, so you see Justin waving in his pink shirt. Justin will be taking the photograph. What I'd like you to do, Sinja, yes, please turn your video on. Sheng Xue, can you turn on your video? Lincoln, are you there? And Sinjan, you must have your photo. Not just your hand. Okay, Elios from Indonesia, are you in? All right, fantastic. So we have 2 screens to take photo of, right, Justin?
Yes, 2
Arvind,
screens.
turn on your camera.
Okay, so turn on your camera. Please look at the video cam and hold your pose. Hold your pose. Smile.
Okay, I'll start now and
smile. Now we are on to the second screen.
Second screen. Smile. Okay. Okay.
Okay, fantastic. So we're going to just take a 5-minute bio break, just a 5-minute bio break. You can switch your cameras off, and in 5 minutes, we'll be back at 8:10.
Can I just say something, Debbie? Before this, and that's why I was late, I was in my own area contest, table topics, and I came second, which means I go through to division, which is good.
Woo! Congratulations, David.
Congratulations, David. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well done, mate.
The person that beat me, I mentored him in table topics last year.
Wow.
That proves world is round.
Student has become a master. Woohoo.
That's the best compliment you can get, you know, David. Isn't it?
I agree, you know. I heard someone say someone was from Chennai here tonight. And
Yes, she was on the debate, the last pair, Shankari.
That's me, Toastmaster David.
I've been to
How do you
Chennai.
do?
Yeah, I've been to Chennai twice. I spoke there a couple of years ago, actually, for Infosys. Wonderful place to be. Loved it.
I see. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
And congrats on your table topics win. I agree with Toastmaster Devi. That's such a huge compliment to you.
Thank you.
Shin, are you there?